The other symptoms that some people have, maybe becoming too focused on something, hyper-focusing, that you lose track of time, that then you don't put the energy or you put your attention into something that you're meant to be doing, that can actually be seen as lazy. Oh, so you couldn't be bothered. We are our own worst enemies. No one is ever going to be more critical of us ADHDers than we are of ourselves. I'm over the negative talk about us ADHDers. I would always talk negatively about myself, and I would always tell people that I was stupid. And that's what I got back. And I used to wonder why people wouldn't listen to me when I'm really serious and I know what I'm talking about. It's time for us to reframe that. Welcome to the ADHD Fempreneur Podcast, where we unleash the power of the ADHD entrepreneurial mind. I'm Kerry Fitzgibbon. Ladies, let's turn your superpower into success. Welcome to this week's episode of the ADHD Fempreneur. Today we're going to be talking about banishing that lazy label and really empowering us ADHD Fempreneurs. I don't know how many times in my life on mainly school reports, and I'm sure all of us have felt the same, have you ever had that talented but lazy, right? It's a really, really common thing that many out there, and it starts in school where we just were not motivated to do boring stuff. I mean, it doesn't work for us. And so we didn't do that boring stuff, or we didn't do it to the best of our capacity. But our teachers back in the day knew that we were talented because we did some stuff really, really great. And then in the old school report, it would be something along the lines of, and there's all different variations of it, talented but lazy. Today I'm going to explore some of the common tendencies amongst us ADHD Fempreneurs to label, ourselves and other people to label us as lazy, and really how that can impact on our self-esteem. We know that we've got all these ideas. We know we have drive. We know we have vision and whatever else. But sometimes it's really hard to find the motivation to actually take that first step, or to find the motivation to do things that we don't want to do. And that can often be seen as lazy, and whether we put that label on ourselves because we're like, oh, how can other people do it? How come other people can get out there and do, X, Y, Z? Why is it that I can't go out there and do all this stuff, right? And often it's just a symptom of our ADHD. There's other things that we are doing that are, we are motivated in doing. So, we've got to be, again, a little bit nicer on ourselves. So some of the symptoms, and the behaviours that actually look lazy, that are not lazy, and that's why, ADHDers are quite often have that lazy label, either themselves or from other people. And one of them is trouble focusing on tasks, right? So, if you're not interested, it's boring, then it's really hard to focus on actually doing that thing. And, it's been like that our entire lives, which is why at school, you'd sit in a classroom and let's just say you hate math and you're sitting in a classroom nowadays for 70 minutes. In our day, it was about, an hour sitting there doing your times tables or trying to figure out equations. And the teacher's up on at the board scribbling on, used to be a blackboard, but now it's computers and stuff, and you're just sitting there and you can't focus because it's absolutely boring. So therefore you don't do the stuff that you're meant to do, and therefore it's seen as being lazy. And it's no different like today, even in the workforce, even having a business and whatever else. If that task is boring, we don't focus on it. And so that can often be seen as lazy as well. It's actually quite funny, very timely, because I just got called into my son's school this week and he's been diagnosed with ADHD. And they were sitting me down and having a conversation about, the fact that he is literally walking into the class and he's telling the teachers, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And they're saying, well, listen, he's got to be more motivated. And I'm sitting there going, well, how? If it's boring, of course he doesn't want to do it. We've got to do other things to help, be more, help people get more motivated and stuff. It's not laziness. It's just that it's too boring. The other symptoms that some people have, that might be seen as lazy as well is maybe becoming too focused on something, right? Hyper-focusing, that you lose track of time, that then you don't put the energy or you put your attention into something that you're meant to be doing, perhaps, and then if the end user is someone who's affected by that, so you don't turn up or you don't finish something that you say you're going to do because you're hyper-focused on something else, that can actually be seen as lazy. So you couldn't be bothered, or so you couldn't find time to do it, and so on. And that can be, like I said, seen as lazy in the ADHD world as well. We have difficult paying attention. It's all part of the same thing. And if we're not paying attention, then we can be easily distracted and we can put our time and energy and everything into other things, or move from one task to another thing without actually completing stuff. So if you look at my house, for instance, and in fact, actually, I'm going to use this as an example that the teachers said to my son this week about doing tasks that you don't want to do, but you have to do. And one of the examples that they used is like, we all don't like, I'm sure your mum doesn't like to cook meals for you every night, but she knows she needs to cook meals for you every night, otherwise you wouldn't get fed. I don't cook meals. My partner cooks meals, or we take out, or I buy those package meal things. That's pretty much the state of it, because I don't like cooking. It bores me and I just don't put my energy into it. The other example they used, which was really quite funny, is, and perhaps she hates doing laundry as well, but, if she didn't do the laundry, no one would have clothes. My son sat there really, really quietly, went, well, I don't do laundry either. We have a massive big pile of laundry. I'll put the laundry in, and this is what a lot of us do. You put the laundry in the washing machine, then you forget about it. And then you have to put it in again, and then you forget about it before it gets dried. And then eventually, by some miracle, it ends up washed, dried, and then it sits either on your couch or on your bed. We all have this thing where we put it on our bed because we think we'll do something with it, but then we just shove it off the bed to go to bed. And so you've got washing all over your place. You've got dirty dishes. You haven't got the floor vacuumed and so on. So people come to your house and they look around and go, whoa, this person here's lazy. They don't do any housework. No, it's not lazy. It's prioritizing different things. And and the fact is, if we might start doing something like cleaning up and then get distracted and end up doing lots of other things as well. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this, but this can actually be often seen as lazy. And realistically, it's just boredom, lack of motivation, easily distracted, and not being able to, stay on task for too much time. And then there's the opposite side of things where we can become super, super hyper-focused on something. In fact, I saw a meme the other day and I thought it was hilarious, but my partner actually, it's 100% true, and he laughed. He's neurotypical, and he said, it's exactly me. The only time my house gets really tidied and cleaned up is A, if he does it, B, I have a cleaner. But if it's in between any of those times, it's, hey, Kerry, we've got visitors coming around. I tell you what, I get the house cleaned up and my motivation comes back, and I'm not lazy. I do it in like 15, 20 minutes maximum. I get the whole house clean from top to bottom. But that's because I know someone's coming around. So I have the motivation to do so. And I'm sure you're the same. So, but it can be seen as lazy if it's all of that's not done as well. So with all of this in mind, it's so easy to put ourselves down. Like, ADHDers, we have lower self-esteem as it is. We're the most self-critical of ourselves. We often try and people please as well. So all these things can lead to really, I guess, not feeling worthy enough, not feeling good enough, not feeling, not understanding how other people can do stuff and we can't. And again, if this is something that you've lived with your entire life, it really does and can bring you down, and you can start sort of, I guess, believing that label. And for me, I really, I guess, and I've spoken about this before, but where I actually got the diagnosis and knew I was ADHD, and then understood that it's not that I'm lazy, it's not that I'm all these things, it's just that I think differently and I prioritize differently, and whatever else, and started to accept that it really did start to make a difference with my self-esteem. And the other thing that I started to, I guess, do is I started to focus on the good positive things about ADHD. The fact that I can hyperfocus on certain things. The fact that I can, if I need to multitask, between a few things, I can get things done really, really fast. I am empathetic. I'm also part psychic as well, as we all are, right? So we can actually start reading and feeling other people and whatever else. Amazing at ideas and coming up with all sorts of different ideas around things, and creative and full of energy when we need to be full of energy, and, light up the room if we need to light up the room, and all these beautiful things. People gravitate towards us because of these positive traits. If we focus on those and actually put those forward and go, we might be seen as lazy because we don't want to do the washing, cook food, vacuum, do chores, and so on, or do boring shit. But we've got all these other really, really positive, great traits, and start focusing on those, because those are the things that we can control. The other stuff we can't. Then we're going to be a lot happier about ourselves. So one of the things, to help reframe, if you are like having this negative self-talk to yourself, or you're feeling like you're lazy and can't understand why other people can get stuff done and you can't, or you're not the same as anyone else, is to start reframing the way you speak to yourself, right? We are our own worst enemies. No one is ever going to be more critical of us ADHDers than we are of ourselves. We are always trying to overcompensate for what we believe are our lack of, skills or lack of anything. In fact, we're always trying to overcompensate. And I think it's time for us to turn that around and go, no, we are amazing. We've got an amazing brain. It thinks differently than a neurotypical person, but that doesn't matter. Maybe they're wrong, all right? And start being kind, nice, and re-talking the way we talk to ourselves, okay? And one of the things, and I've shared this before, but I want to share it again because I think it's valuable to say this, is many years ago before I actually really grew into my businesses, and it actually helped me be able to build multi-million-dollar businesses and be successful with ADHD, is I would always talk negatively about myself. And I would always tell people, within 5 minutes of meeting me, that I was stupid. And that's how I framed it. And that's what I was to everyone. And I was stupid, and I was ditzy, and I was lazy, and I was this, and I was that, And I would say that, and I would put it out there to people, the universe, and myself. And that's what I got back. That's what people thought of me and whatever else. And I used to wonder why people wouldn't listen to me when I'm really serious and I know what I'm talking about, because I've hyper-focused on a particular topic, and everyone would just not necessarily listen, right? And it wasn't until someone pointed it out to me, hey, Kerry, you keep telling everyone you're stupid within the first 5 minutes of them meeting you. Well, how are they ever going to take you seriously, okay? You tell them you're lazy. You tell them, you're not good enough. You tell them, well, why would, all this stuff that we tell people, but we're also telling ourselves. It's time for us to reframe that. It's time for us to go, hey, listen, within the first 5 minutes of meeting people, I say to them, hey, listen, I have ADHD. Do you know what? It's fantastic. It means I can hyper-focus. I can come up with heaps of ideas for your business. I'm really, really creative. And because I can hyper-focus, I've hyper-focused on marketing. So I'm absolutely amazing at marketing. In fact, I'm one of the best Facebook marketers in the world. And you're lucky to be around me because I can help you grow your business. I tell them that in the first 5 minutes of them meeting me. I also tell them, if it's not on a business level and it's a friend level, I meet someone for the first first time. I'm like, hey, listen, I happen to be really, really great at business. I've built these amazing businesses. I run marathons on the side as well. I'm freaking great at running marathons. And I'm really fun to be around. But don't expect me to be on time. Is that okay with you, right? So I tell them all this positive, amazing stuff, and I make friends so much more easy now, but friends that actually understand me, don't expect things that they would probably expect from a neurotypical from me, right? They expect next level awesome ADHD traits, but not neurotypical executive functioning type of day-to-day boring stuff. And so now that I'm doing that, like I said, I've got better friends, I feel better and business runs better and, everything's a lot better. So I just want to, I wanted to talk about this today because I think I'm over the negative talk about us ADHDers. I'm over, the fact that there are all these traits that aren't good when we've got a whole heap of traits that are amazing. Many of us ADHDers, we have, slightly different quirks, although there are some things that are very, very similar with us. But, just get to know what your strengths are, what you are good at doing, and run your business and your life to your strengths, to the things that, you're good at, to the things that you really, really enjoy, rather than trying to run your business and your life to what other people expect from you or other outsiders that don't understand you expect from you. And even other ADHDers, what they expect from you, because we're all different. I often find myself scrolling through Instagram, through Reels or through TikToks, listening to other ADHDers out there. And I get quite intrigued by it because what some of them say totally resonates. And I'm like, that's so me, me, we're on the same ADHD wavelength. But there'll be others that I look at that I'll go, are you even ADHD? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like me. What are you on? That I won't resonate with, okay? So we, even as ADHDers, have to stop trying to judge other ADHDers as well because we are all different. They say, I think there's 6 different types of ADHD. I think there's even more inside of that as well. So, work to your own strengths. But one of the things I think is key for all of us because of what we've been through our entire life, and especially if you're late diagnosed ADHD, is to shift our mindset. Shift it away from negative, it's always been negative and shown up negative in our life, to positive, the positive quirks, how we've got to where we have gotten to in life, how we've been resilient, how we've been able to overcome so many other things to, be the quirky, amazing person that we are. And, just remind yourself of that daily. In fact, I have on my mirror, I have positive mantras on my mirror, and my partner writes them on there for me. But before he did that, I used to write my own, and they were positive affirmations every single day. And just remembering that if I ever went into a negative, oh gosh, that's right, you're lazy, you're ditzy, whatever else. Whenever I shift into that, twist it back to the complete opposite. And, you do your own ADHD, but love it, embrace it, and understand that it is actually a real gift. I hope some of the things that I've said here today have helped you with your ADHD journey. And if you do resonate with any of this, if you want to hear more, perhaps if you want to share some of your own stories, your own experiences, and how you overcame, your perception, people's perception of you as being lazy out there, how you've overcome some of the obstacles that have come in your way, I'd love to hear more about that. I'd love you to share your stories, your experiences. Leave a comment below and reach out. And if you do want to hear more about this stuff, make sure that you do tune in, subscribe, follow me on my socials, subscribe to Spotify, to Apple Podcast, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.